No one on Earth expected that day to become the start of something impossible. It began with a strange signal coming from deep space. At first, scientists thought it was just noise. Then the pattern became clear. It was not random. It was structured, intelligent. Within hours, every major space agency confirmed the same thing. Something massive was entering Earth's orbit. On every screen across the world, a fleet appeared. Not one ship, not two, hundreds. They were large, silent, and perfectly arranged in formation. No country on Earth had ever seen technology like this before. Then the message came. It was not friendly. It was short, direct, and translated instantly into every language on Earth. Human species detected. You are now under evaluation. Submit or be removed. The world went silent. Governments met in emergency calls. Military systems activated. Satellites began tracking every movement of the fleet. But the alien ships did not move aggressively. They simply waited, as if they already knew the outcome. Then came the countdown. 60 seconds. That was all Earth was given. Inside command centers, tension rose. Some leaders demanded a reply. Others wanted to fire immediately. But something about the situation felt wrong. The alien fleet was too calm, too confident, like they were not expecting resistance, only submission. Deep underground, in hidden facilities unknown to the public, systems that had not been activated in decades suddenly came alive. No announcements were made. No warnings were given. Only quiet orders passed through secure channels. The countdown continued. 50 seconds. 40. And somewhere beneath the surface of Earth, something old, something powerful, began to wake up. The countdown was still running. 30 seconds left. In orbit, the alien fleet remained perfectly still. Their formation looked peaceful, but it was not. Every ship was locked, loaded, and ready. On Earth, there was no public panic yet. Most people still did not know what was happening above their sky. Only governments, military commands, and secret facilities were fully aware. Inside underground control rooms, lights turned on one by one. Massive screens activated. Long-dead systems began running again as if they had been waiting for this moment. No one spoke loudly. Every order was given in calm voices. Then, a final message came from the alien fleet. You have been given mercy. Do not waste it. 10 seconds. 9, 8. In deep underground chambers, massive mechanical systems started moving. Locked doors opened for the first time in decades. Power lines surged through forgotten networks. Something old was waking up. Something humanity had never shown the world. 3 seconds. 2, 1. Silence. The alien countdown ended. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the alien commander gave a simple order. Fire. Across the fleet, weapon systems activated at once. Bright energy beams shot toward Earth's surface, lighting up the night side of the planet. The sky turned into lines of burning light. But on Earth, there was still no panic signal. No global broadcast. No emergency announcement. Instead, deep beneath the ground, a final activation code was entered. A single word was sent through every hidden channel. Engage. And that word changed everything. Because what humanity had kept hidden for years was no longer asleep. The command echoed through every hidden defense center. Engage. Nothing happened for a few seconds. The alien commander smiled. From the bridge of the flagship, Earth looked weak and slow. Their first attack had already crossed the distance toward the planet. He believed the battle was over before it had truly begun. Then every screen inside the alien fleet flashed with a warning. Unknown energy detected. The officers searched for missiles. There were none. They searched for fighters. Nothing. They searched for laser batteries. Still nothing. The strange signal was coming from below Earth's surface. Far below mountains, deserts, and frozen land, giant armored doors slowly opened. They had remained hidden for many years, invisible even to the most advanced satellites. Inside them rested enormous railguns. There was no bright glow, no loud explosion, only powerful magnetic fields building incredible force. Human engineers watched the numbers rise. 100%. The chief officer nodded once. Fire! The first metal projectile left the barrel faster than anyone could imagine. There was no trail of fire, no shining beam, only an object moving so fast that space itself seemed to blur around it. The alien sensors noticed it less than a second before impact. Too late. The front cruiser disappeared from the fleet. Not damaged, not burning. It simply broke apart into thousands of glowing pieces that drifted into the darkness. Silence filled every alien bridge. No one understood what had happened. Their strongest shield had never even reacted. The projectile had punched through armor, engines, and the ship's core before anyone could respond. For the first time since arriving at Earth, the alien commander stopped smiling. He looked at the tactical display. One ship was gone. Then another warning appeared. Multiple high-speed objects detected. The human railguns were not finished. They had only fired the first shot. The alien fleet finally understood something was wrong. But understanding came too late. Across Earth's surface, hidden railgun stations began firing in perfect coordination. No noise reached the ground. No shockwaves were felt by cities. But above the atmosphere, space turned into a battlefield in seconds. The second wave launched. Then the third. Then dozens more. Each projectile moved faster than tracking systems could follow. Alien sensors tried to lock targets, but every prediction failed. The weapons were not random. They were calculated. Perfect aim. Perfect timing. On the flagship bridge, alarms screamed nonstop. The tactical map was breaking apart. Entire sections of the fleet disappeared one after another. A heavy cruiser vanished. Then a carrier. Then two escort ships broke apart at the same moment. The alien commander shouted for defensive shields to be strengthened, but the engineers were already panicking. The energy is kinetic, not energy-based. Shields are useless. That sentence changed everything. Alien technology was built to defend against plasma, lasers, and energy storms. But what was coming at them was something far worse. Pure physical destruction, moving at impossible speed. Another railgun shot hit the edge of the formation. A destroyer tried to reposition, but the projectile adjusted its path mid-flight, as if it already knew the ship's escape route. The hit was instant. No explosion, just disappearance. The alien fleet began to scatter. Formation broke for the first time since they arrived. Ships moved in panic, trying to escape Earth's orbital zone. But the sky was already locked. Every movement was being tracked from below, and every escape path had already been calculated. On Earth, deep underground, operators watched silently. No celebration, only focus, because they knew something the aliens did not. This was not even the full power of humanity. Panic spread through the alien fleet like a silent virus. At first, they believed retreat would save them. Breaking formation, ships turned away from Earth, trying to escape orbit as fast as possible. But every movement triggered another response. Human railguns adjusted instantly. It was as if Earth itself was watching them. On the flagship, the commander stared at the tactical map in disbelief. The fleet was no longer an army. It had become scattered targets drifting in fear. "Recalculate escape vectors," he shouted. But the navigation officer shook his head. "No safe route exists. Every trajectory is being predicted and blocked." Another cruiser vanished mid-turn. Then a supply ship. Then 3 escorts at once. Each loss happened without warning, without sound, without mercy. The alien shields were still active, but they meant nothing. The weapons were not breaking shields. They were ignoring them completely. Impact always came from the weakest angle, from behind armor, from blind spots no system could predict. It was not just firepower. It was intelligence. Slowly, the truth began to settle in the alien command. This was not a reactive defense. It was a prepared system, a long-term strategy, a trap. Deep underground on Earth, operators remained calm. Some had been waiting years for activation. Others had trained their entire lives for this moment. No one spoke of victory yet, because the battle was still ongoing. Above the planet, the alien fleet was shrinking fast. Ships that once looked invincible were now vanishing one by one, like lights being switched off in the dark. The commander finally understood the full reality. This was not a first contact mission, he whispered. This was a test, and humanity had already passed it long before the fleet ever arrived. One final alert flashed across every alien screen. Orbital control, 87% cleared. Earth was not defending itself anymore. It was finishing the job. The alien fleet was no longer a fleet. What remained above Earth was broken formation, drifting wreckage, and silent ships that no longer answered commands. Panic had turned into confusion, and confusion turned into fear. On the flagship, the commander looked around his bridge. Officers who once spoke with confidence were now silent. No one wanted to report the next loss, because every report was the same. Another ship gone, another signal lost, another system failing without explanation. Outside, space was no longer chaotic. It was controlled. Every movement from the remaining alien vessels was being tracked with perfect precision. And every attempt to escape only made things worse. Then, suddenly, the attack stopped. No railgun fire, no tracking alerts, no new targets destroyed, just silence. For a few seconds, the alien commander did not believe it. He waited for the next strike. His entire body stayed tense, expecting the end. But nothing came. Slowly, he looked at the tactical display. Only fragments remained. Less than a tenth of the original fleet was still operational. And even those ships were damaged, scattered, and drifting without coordination. On Earth, deep underground, systems began shutting down one by one. Massive railgun platforms cooled. Hidden doors closed again. Power levels dropped back into silence. No celebration followed. No victory message was broadcast. Just quiet confirmation across control rooms. Mission complete. Above the planet, the surviving alien ships began to retreat without orders. There was no pride left. No mission left. Only survival instinct. As they turned away from Earth, the commander sent one final transmission. Not a threat. Not a demand. Just a warning to the galaxy. Do not engage this world. And for the first time since their arrival, Earth remained completely silent. Because it never needed to speak loudly. The silence was already enough.